We acknowledge that Barre City was developed on Sokoke Abenaki land, which the Western Abenaki Nation never ceded, made treaty for, nor were they conquered. We aspire to create a space in our meetings that is inclusive, participatory, and equitable. We acknowledge we all come from different experiences and that our experiences may be affected by racism, sexism, classism, homophobia, ableism, and many other systems of oppression. We are here to address equity within the systems of our city in order to inform the City Council of our findings. We acknowledge that systemic inequities exist and do not debate the personal experiences of marginalized and underrepresented community members. With that in mind, it is important that we are thoughtful of the impact of our words on each other in this space. Okay. And it is 7:05 p.m. and I call the meeting to order. Okay. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Okay. Um, take a motion with seeing no adjustments to the agenda. First order of business is to approve the minutes from the November meeting. Any discussion?
I don't have the minutes.
Okay.
I haven't read them. So, um, you sent them out?
Yeah, that was sent out with I sent
I'm
them out
sorry.
when I sent the request for the meeting to
Okay,
be noticed.
I'm not
Let me
on
see if
that.
they do not have them online yet.
All right, I'll look for your email if you could.
Okay. Well, the other thing we can do is if you wish to table them for the next meeting, we can do that.
But yeah, if we could do that, yes, please, if there's no objection. Um,
Okay.
that's my fault. I'm sorry, and I still need to get the materials. I have a bag that Joellen gave me that I should give to you that has some stuff in it too. So,
Okay.
and I also got an email from Roxanne Pike, is that her name? We're supposed to do a year-end report.
Okay.
I've never heard that. I don't know. So that should probably be something I should do since I was president most of the year. So I'll have to talk to her about that, and I'll consult with you too. But
Okay.
um, we only had like 3 meetings, like
Hmm.
3 or 4. So anyway, okay.
Okay. So we either need a motion to approve the minutes or a motion to table the minutes.
I'll make a motion to table them.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. And was that Sean, were you the one making the motion and Matt seconded?
No, sorry, it was me. I'm eating my dinner, so I didn't want to be on camera.
Oh, okay.
Vice versa. Matt
So
made the
Matt
motion.
made the motion
John seconded.
and
I,
Sean seconded.
Yep, I seconded.
Okay.
I approved the motion.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
I
Aye.
Hi,
Opposed? Okay. Okay. They've been tabled for the next meeting.
thank you.
Okay. And let's start with old business. Now, um, shortly after the October 7th massacre, um, Chris, you and I were tasked with putting together a statement regarding that. Um, and I just wanted to discuss, since we had been tasked with that, what people are wishing to do with that.
Well, I know it was a while ago now. I don't know, but I don't have any feelings about it either way.
Okay. I had made a statement. I can send that out, or I can adjust it a bit and then send it out to the members and see if that's something that they want to work on and look at for the next meeting.
Okay. I had never written anything, so yeah, if you want to forward it, William, I suppose we can discuss at the next meeting.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. And the next item on the agenda is information on expenditures that were approved in the May meeting.
yeah, Joelle's not here, so
And Greg's not here.
we're
So,
probably gonna have to postpone that one.
okay, so we can table that for the next meeting.
Yeah,
Okay. I don't think we need to have motions on these.
yeah, no, I guess we're not doing anything yet. Yeah,
Okay.
I
Committee reports and assignments.
yeah, I need to get everyone the information still. So if we could table that one, and I
Okay.
promise to do it.
Hmm.
I'm
Well,
on medical leave right now, so I have more time.
okay. The other thing that I was thinking about was that now um the statutes, the Barre statutes are all online.
Ordinances, yeah.
The ordinances are all online, and so I mean, if there are people who just want to, rather than meet as a group, if people just want to look at them individually and then discuss, we can email back and forth, discuss what we think, if there's anything that we think is problematic, or the one that I noticed was the ordinance on sidewalks. And it allows for um, members of a neighborhood to gather together to petition the city council to build sidewalks, with no more than 50% of the cost being borne by the homeowners. Which I believe is why, for instance, outside um, our house, the sidewalk ends right after our house because the people who owned the house next door prior to that did not want to pay to have a sidewalk in front of their house. But but that was one of the things I was looking at. Um, but we can it what is the thought of the committee as far as that's concerned?
Can I just ask a clarifying question?
Go ahead.
What would how would the ordinance for sidewalks be, what framework would we look at it for the Jedi B committee?
Well, is it? I mean, you look at um, the equity of the side. The For instance, it's the homeowners, the landowners who would be petitioning the city council. If, for instance, you had renters, they would not be the homeowners to petition the city council. Um, that's one area where that's something.
I think the equity assessment tool would probably be useful
Okay.
when used reviewing the ordinances. As far
Mhm.
as this particular one goes, I wasn't aware of that, and right off the bat, it seems kind of exclusionary to me in the sense of I'm sure there are a fair number of homeowners, myself included, who could not possibly pay for a
Yeah.
sidewalk.
Now, the
You know,
city cannot charge more than 50% of the cost to the homeowner, but it
Yeah,
doesn't say they have to charge that amount.
yeah, well, but still, it could be a
Mhm.
lot of money. I mean, there is a sidewalk in front of my house, but I'm just saying,
Mhm.
I'm thinking of streets around here that don't have sidewalks.
Right.
A big one being Tremont, however you want to pronounce it. At least down on this end of it, there are no sidewalks on either side.
Mhm.
So I don't, I don't know. That might be certainly that seems like an equity issue to me. I mean, I don't understand why the city has to pay for it. You know,
Uh,
it's
there's
it's
there are sidewalks on, well, there's a sidewalk on one side of Granite Street, not the side that my building is on. And
mm,
Mhm.
and I think it contributes to the speeding cars that use the relatively new bridge, like a interstate on-ramp.
yes.
Mhm.
The road is wide without the sidewalk, so that encourages people to drive faster.
Mm.
Mhm. And
I
I think what happened was when the sidewalks were first put in, the homeowners decided whether they wanted one or not. So, like where I am, there's a sidewalk up to our neighbors, and then they're the last house before you get to the corner, and then there's a sidewalk again. Um, and so it really is, I think, based on who the homeowners were at the time that they put in the sidewalks and whether they wanted them and were willing to pay for them.
well,
But the ordinance still exist.
that doesn't seem like a very just or equitable ordinance in some ways. So I think it's good you flagged it.
Would
Mhm.
would it be possible for other committee members to also review and choose an ordinance and then maybe have a discussion with the other committee members about which other ordinances we might want to tackle rather than just sort of like willy-nilly, but maybe
Oh yeah.
narrow
I
it
think that's
down?
an excellent idea. That's why I was thinking that rather than us meeting together as a group, that we each look at look at them and see, and there may be some that I wouldn't find inequitable that other people would, and vice versa.
Okay.
So,
Well, again, I gotta find the committee assignments. I know you and I are on it, William. I don't know who else is. So, I mean, but you and I would, and if there's anyone else on the subcommittee, would be obligated to read all the ordinances. Are
mhm.
they extensive?
Yeah, I got through. Well, I think. Well, actually, I can't show you because I don't have control of the meeting. But if you go to the city website,
Yeah,
you can just go where it says ordinances, or
I see. Okay.
and then it has them by groups.
I mean, yeah, I certainly, you raise an interesting issue in that one would not ordinarily presume that sidewalks would be an issue of involving equity, I suppose. But the way you have presented it, it absolutely does in my mind. So I think we, we can't presume ahead of time that an ordinance wouldn't review an ordinance because it wouldn't have anything to do with what we do. You don't
Mhm.
know that. So, and some of these ordinances I'm sure are quite old. So,
I believe there is one requiring you to every resident of the city of Barre to have a bath on Saturday night,
yeah, that's a famous one. Anyway, uh, yeah, it's in Trivial Pursuit.
which actually may be inequitable because nowadays I think there are places that don't have tubs. Uh,
Oh yeah, I
so
I would assume that's true a lot of places.
I
Yeah.
don't think it's being enforced.
Um,
Okay.
I will. Yeah, I'm happy to review that, and I will get the stuff out for the assignments, and then we'll you know, but I will review the ordinances too. And we can confer at the next meeting.
Okay. Okay. Um, shall we move on to new business?
Fine with me.
Okay. And Matt, I believe you wanted on there a discussion of language barriers.
Yeah, language access, I guess, is
Okay.
is but that's semantics. So um and I pulled some stuff together, and I also wanted to read, because I'm pretty sure the city of Barre doesn't have a language access policy, but I pulled the one from I'm on the committee, and it's DEI work, but they changed the name at the for UVM Health, and now I don't remember the new name, but I have their language access policy that I'd like to read. But there isn't a universally agreed upon definition for language access, but it generally refers to the ability of individuals to communicate and access information, services, and opportunities in their first language. It encompasses various aspects, including language interpretation and translation services, multilingual materials and documents, bilingual or multilingual staff, accessible communication technologies, cultural competency training for service providers. Language access is crucial for ensuring equal opportunities, social inclusion, and effective communication, especially for people with limited proficiency in the dominant language. Um, and medical center, and there was a discussion about people and their language access needs, and currently the hospital uses an iPad for translation work for people who are post-operative recovery.
Mhm.
And I made the point that I've had 29 different surgeries in my life, and coming out of anesthesia, saying yes or no is a real effort. So the idea that having a person, if it's possible, to provide company and comfort to the person who might be struggling to think in their first language. So that's
Mhm.
interesting conversation. But the UVM Health Network, their their policy reads, the University of Vermont Health Network is committed to providing interpretation services for person with communication access needs. This commitment ensures that these individuals can effectively communicate and equitably access the resources they need. Additionally, it will enable patients and companions to express their medical condition, needs, and history, and understand their provider's assessment of their health, medical, and non-medical condition and treatment options. So it just, on the DEI committee for the health system, and we've talked a lot about access needs and different experiences that people go through. The one that was most memorable was the case study where the individual could speak English. They were raised in Mexico, and they were here, and somebody talking with them in English, but because of their accent said, you should learn English. And
Mhm.
and the idea was that the person was speaking English it with an accent. So, how do people win um, when those points of view are present? And then there was a whole script about how the employee could kind of extract themselves from the situation and have someone else come in and talk to the person who was
Mhm.
expressing that opinion. So, in terms of the city of Barre, and I know, people, um, English is the predominant language, but what do we do when faced with somebody who might be new to the community and who knows what circumstances have brought them here, but English isn't their first language. Maybe they've moved from Quebec. But and understanding, resources and and capacity, are always a question. But how could the city of Barre craft a policy that would at least address the idea that sometimes there are people in our community who move here or are coming through here who don't speak English, and how to accommodate that need. And my ideas go there's so many, the iPad, using that as a tool for
Mhm.
but anyway, so I thought it was an interesting point because the city doesn't have that policy, and maybe it would I think it would be helpful just to shine a light on that need.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Uh, any discussion? I know that the state of Vermont, um, that we have a language line. I think it's AT&T has a language line that we use when we get people on the phone who don't speak English as a and so there is that is a possibility in terms of, but you're talking more in person.
Mhm.
Um, and I suppose one thing that could be done is that the city could look into um, having a bank of translators, people who will translate when the need arises.
Mhm.
Um, je parle un petit peu, but um, anything much beyond that, and um, I, I know I would have difficulty, but I think that is something that is that something that you can any thoughts on that, Sonia, in terms of
I think it's a fantastic idea. I I would say if we could draft a policy and then bring it to the council, I could bring it to the council. But if there's, and maybe what we would need to do is see if other communities, like maybe Burlington already has one, or Winooski, or where there's a language access policy. Um,
Mhm.
and I'd be happy to look those things up if you would like, and then we could discuss it further. I could send them to you.
Okay.
Um, I would be curious to know if there are state and federal requirements for those kinds of things. Um, there may well be, and we're not following them, which
I
wouldn't surprise me in the least.
I know the state doesn't have a language access policy. I think it's something they're working toward.
Mhm. I know that we have Babel notices that we send out to people whenever we make determinations. Um, and so it has English um, and about 12 other languages. Um,
Well, that is definitely an equity issue, and I think that yeah, if the city doesn't have a policy, it should, and that would be something that we could do. Yes, draft. Um, One thing I know the state of Vermont does have, or is working on now, is language access from the perspective. Excuse me. Well, it's required by the Americans with Disabilities Act.
mhm.
To meet
Plain language requirement.
yes, both visually and in other ways to accommodate people who have disabilities that might impair their understanding of you know um anything, online or written material, whatever. So it's interesting that that wouldn't be a requirement, for people who speak a foreign language. Foreign right off the bat. That's a problematic term in my mind. A non, the correct term would be maybe non-English or.
Non-English speakers. Yeah.
But we don't even have an official language in the United States, which is another issue, and
Mhm.
Oh, we do now.
Yeah. We,
English is now the official language in the United States.
oh, is it? I didn't think
yes.
it. When did that happen?
Earlier this year.
Why am I not surprised? Okay, well, it didn't used to, yeah, we didn't have
It
one.
never was before, no.
No. And yeah, so short answer, yeah, I think that's a good idea. And, I don't know if we need a subcommittee to work on it, but it could get.
I'm gonna say, I think um, um, figuring out what cities in Vermont have a policy and using one and copying it and then presenting it to the council. We don't want to reinvent the wheel, and we don't want to.
Yeah,
There are other people out there who've done the good thinking and
Mhm.
want to piggyback on their work.
yeah, the Vermont League of Cities and Towns probably, I'm sure would have that information.
I'll do some work to figure that out, and then I'll let you all know what I find out.
Thank you. Yeah,
And
I'm curious. I mean, because we do have discrete, communities in Vermont that I'm sure have encounter language barriers frequently. Um, like that happened when I was working for the Vermont Network Against Sexual and Domestic Violence, that horrible incident with what was their nationality? The man stabbed his wife. It wasn't Khmer, it was Nepal. I think they were from Nepal, and there were language issues. I remember or something involving that case, but that. So yeah, I think that's a really good idea, Matt. And
do we want to include plain language as part of that as well?
I don't know if the city is required. I would assume the city must be
I'm gonna
required.
say yes. I hate acronyms and any kind of technical speech. I mean, the rule of thumb is to write everything at a sixth grade reading level
Mhm.
to make space for people who have all levels of learning. So I think plain language is a great idea.
Well, city may be required under the ADA to do it. So,
The ADA, the language is very clear but the problem with the ADA is that it's been litigated for 30 years through a normative court system that has basically put the requirements of or the qualifications of what an undue burden is for even a very large company. They've it's been litigated to the fact to like you can have a company with $100 million budget and the employee can need a tutor, and that can be seen as an undue burden.
oh,
So the language is good, but the way it's been litigated, it just doesn't really have any teeth anymore.
hmm. Well, yeah, I think this is a good thing, and whatever we can do with it, I would help as well. So,
Okay. I don't know that we need a motion on that. We'll just work on that
I'll
and
make the motion
it, okay.
What is the motion that we come up with
that we come up with a recommendation for a language access policy for the city of Barre.
I second it.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's okay. I'm just writing these down for the minutes. Because technically the only thing that is required in the minutes are any motions that are made. And who made the motion, who seconded it, and the results of the vote.
This is being recorded too.
Yes.
To let you know.
Hmm.
It starts automatically when you start the meeting. So anyway.
Okay. Next, we have discussion of items for future meetings.
Hmm.
I'd like to propose a discussion around neurodivergence. I am neurodivergent myself, and um, it is I was on the board and board chair at All Brains Belong, and 1 in 5 people uh, perceive the world or learn in a way that is different enough to be considered neurodivergent. And that's 20% is 1 in 5 people. So
Mhm.
it's a topic that I think is being widely discussed in my therapy practice. Um, it's one of the things that I specialize because I have lived the life with a neurodivergent brain in a normative world, and would like to discuss with the committee the different barriers that that existed for me. I wasn't diagnosed with my learning disability until I was 40. And
Mhm.
so, the assumptions, opinions, and conclusions drawn by people were often the thing that I struggled with the most. And thinking about that through the lens of the city and, our law enforcement and anyone who interacts with um, citizens of the city of Barre, and raising awareness about uh,
Mhm.
those automatic thoughts that we can sometimes have around people when they present differently.
Okay. Now, I heard there was a recent book out um, called Born Lucky. Are you familiar with that?
I am not.
Okay, it's let me it's go ahead.
No, that's it.
I'm just getting the I've heard about it. Uh, it's who was the author here? But he Leland Vittert. And he was autistic, discovered that he was autistic. And my understanding is that his father wouldn't tell anyone else about it because he wanted him to be able to adjust to the world rather than having him try to have the world adjust to him. And I haven't, I've just heard about the book on various podcasts. but but that's and basically the father would do things like when when they were meeting, when he met with clients, he would have Leland come with him, and Leland would be able to ask questions and so forth. And then when his father tapped his watch, that was his sign to his son that it was time to stop. And then after they met, his father would go over all of the things that they had done and ask questions of Leland and try to get him to understand. Um, and so it's something that I've from what I've heard has been very helpful for people who are autistic. And his father he told his father that if he was going to write the book, and if his father didn't like it, that he would not publish it. And his father was kind of hesitant to publish it. And then Leland said, "Well, if you had this book, would you have, and what would you have done differently?" And his father realized that the book would be a very helpful tool for people um, who are autistic or have autistic children. So, um,
Well, and I'll also say that, I understand that not having a diagnosis in childhood and being born in the 70s, I was as free range
mhm,
as every other child. And if I often wonder if I hadn't been quote unquote treated just as everybody else in that kind of social aspect, the kind of person that I might be. And
mhm,
so that kind of I'll call it exposure was healthy. But then on the other end of it, struggling in school and just being assumed, to be lazy or uh,
mhm,
struggling in the workplace because it took me longer to learn things. I never knew how to be a good student, and I thought it was my fault. And then I was diagnosed at 40 when I started graduate school, and I got accommodations which were just about giving me more time to do my work,
mhm,
and I got a 60 credit master's degree. So, I think, you can look at it through, I've spoken at different conferences for hydrocephalus, which is a condition I live with, and
mhm,
talking to parents about how to challenge their children appropriately, and that children learn their worth by moving through their experience, confronting challenges, and overcoming them. It's a huge part of how we develop a positive self-concept.
right.
So, I think there's a balance, right, between um, exposure and support.
Mhm,
He apparently is the author. Is on
I think News Nation, is it?
News Nation
Mhm,
and was an anchor at Fox News Channel for years.
yeah,
Um, the book just came out on September 30th. So
yeah.
anyway,
That's why I've been hearing about it, because he's been making the
okay.
rounds.
Yeah, making so I would just yeah. Well, anyway, just was gonna say I'm embarrassed to say that I didn't even know the word neurodivergent until the election last year, when people were referring to the Minnesota governor's son as neurodivergent, and I didn't know. I assumed that it meant something to do with autism, but I had not heard the term before.
Mhm.
Uh, so, I've come late to the party, I guess, on that one. But yeah, so um, uh, I I don't know, Matt, is this something you wanna, the committee to do anything?
No, I mean, I think it can be an agenda item for the next meeting and then we can discuss.
All right,
Okay.
that's fine. I would second that if you're making a motion.
I will make the motion.
Okay, I second it.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
I,
I only heard one aye.
Yeah, and I was muted because I had to cough.
And Sean is muted as well.
So I will say aye.
Okay. And Sean? Any against? Okay. Okay. And if anyone wants any agenda items on any items on the agenda, as long as you get them to me basically a week ahead of time, it's something that I can put on the agenda.
okay, thank you. That sound was the Montreal horn. The Canadians just scored a goal. I have it on my phone for them and for the Edmonton Oilers.
Uh,
When they score, it's the sound that it's made in their home stadium.
mhm.
Um,
I'm an Islanders fan myself, so
um, they're not an old team, I don't think, the Islanders.
well, I think they're still the last team to win four straight Stanley Cups, but
I didn't know that either.
they haven't won one since.
Um, I need to go soon because my
Well, are
dogs.
there any other items people would wish on for future meetings? Again, you can always let me know ahead of time, and we can put it on the agenda. Okay. Uh, hearing
One thing
none.
I wanted to ask quickly, how did, I guess Sonia, how did that book thing, the book review go?
Oh, it went well, and we are actually, we had a book club about, and we discussed Poverty by America. I think that was in the summer, and then we had another one. We talked about Evicted, and
Yeah, September,
um,
the housing one, yeah.
yeah, the library and a few of us that were participating in the book club are going to start doing some discussions at the library in starting in January, I think. We have to have a planning meeting. But we want to keep having conversations about those particular issues and invite the community in, but not necessarily have to read a whole book to be able to do it. Like maybe it would be reading an article, or maybe it would be reading or watching a video or a webinar or something, and then having a conversation. So I can keep you posted on that. It's not, we haven't made any plans yet.
Yeah, I would be interested in it. I wanted to go to the meeting in September, but wasn't able to, so,
Yeah.
I'd like to read that book, although it's very difficult for me to read because of my vision, but yeah, so.
You need a, was it Libby? Does that read to you out loud? Or is that just a borrowing book from the library?
Yeah, well, I'm looking into those things more because my vision's getting worse. So I'm looking into reading, spoken books.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
I just bought a new tablet where I can make the print really big and, that kind of thing. So because it's really frustrating. I read articles because I can see them online. Like I read the New York Times every day, but books are harder, so
The other thing I will
They do
say,
have large print books.
oh yeah.
yeah,
The other thing I'll say, if I could let you know that there's a budget survey out right now that the city council is doing. I would encourage you all to take that. And we're looking for feedback. The city council's looking for feedback. Make sure you tell other people about it. The I don't know if it's online, but there's a link on social media. Let me see if I can see it when I log into the Barre City website. Yeah, it's right in the middle of the page under civic events and public announcements. There's a budget survey, and if you click that link, it'll take you to the survey. It's not a very long survey. So
Okay.
I'd encourage you to take it and encourage other people to take it. And you don't have to live in Barre City to take it. You could work in Barre City. Um, you could own a business in Barre City, any of those things. Or if you live here, that would be great too.
Okay. Any other new business? Discussion of items for future meetings? Okay. Visitors and public comment. Yes, Erica Reel.
Hi, I'm Erica, they, them pronouns. So I'm glad we're talking about language barriers and other such things, ADA, all that happy stuff. So I was recently thinking about way back when I was on the ADA committee and thinking about the city website and ordinances and all that stuff. And I'm so glad you brought up the city website, Sonia. And I'm thinking about how busy the website is and how hard it is to find things on the city website and how when language communication goes on, I'm trying to make this talk fast here because I only have 2 minutes. But it is very difficult for finding things on the city website. The ADA passed in 1990. There was a law passed that every city needed to have a transition plan about how it was to comply with the ADA. Yeah, the ADA really doesn't have any teeth. There's no ADA police going, you did bad, you did not do this, but it's access for everybody. People that English is not their second language. We do not use the term impaired when talking to somebody with a disability. We use person with a disability. But access is access for everybody. You have somebody who's deaf. I have somebody who might have a visual disability. Somebody who might be hard of hearing. Access for one person is access for everybody. You build a ramp. Somebody who uses a stroller can get into City Hall. Somebody who uses a walker might not trip over that cord. Um, but you have access. You have access just for everybody. Barre is the second largest, has the second largest population of deaf individuals. People don't know that because deaf folks keep to themselves. Um, but yes, we should have um, language lines. Great. But how does that work for somebody who's deaf? Um, we have ordinances out there that are just PDFs on a page. That does not work for somebody who needs a magnifier because PDFs do not work with magnifiers. Um, but again, we need stuff that is written for a sixth grade level because, I know when I look at something after a while with my ADD, I don't want to read all that much. So anyway, I hope I'm under 2 minutes. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Erica. Um, does the city have a TTY line?
I do not know actually if the city has a TTY line. That is still under the ADA. They should be having a TTY line. TTYs are not only for folks that are deaf, they are also for folks that have speech impediments. They are for folks that have a TBI. They are for folks that have lost hearing late in life. They do not know ASL. So I cannot tell you that.
Okay.
And a better question is, do folks that are working for the city now know how to use one?
That is a point. Okay. I believe you're the only visitor. Um, so I'm setting the next meeting date, January 8th, 6:30 p.m. via Zoom. I guess we can just do it via Zoom, and I don't need I should be able to do it from here. And you, Chris, you're going to get me the materials. Um,
Yes, well, I'll give you the materials that Joellen gave me. I need to give you but you have the username and password. I emailed it to you.
Yes.
And that should work. It worked tonight. It's worked before. It was not sufficient last time, and I don't remember why that was, but I don't know. It's not probably not a bad idea to consult with Chris ahead of time with the next meeting just to make sure that
And now, should that work at any point in time?
yes. It
Okay,
should,
so
yeah.
I can test it out.
Well, I don't know. You got to test it out once the meeting is put on the city agenda on Zoom.
Okay.
And I don't know how far in advance Chris does that.
Basically, I think it's done as soon as it's given to
Yeah,
Chris.
yeah. So, but anyway,
So I sent it out Sunday night, and it was on there Monday. So,
okay. Yeah, no,
or
Nicholas,
was it Monday night and it was on there Tuesday? Yeah,
yeah,
Monday
Nicholas
night it was on
pretty
there Tuesday.
fast
So
on those things anyway. So yeah. I will call you or email you and we can arrange to, give you
okay,
stuff like that.
okay.
Well,
I will entertain a motion if there's nothing else. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn and
I'll second it.
Okay, Matt seconded. Okay.
happy holidays, happy Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, happy whatever
Hmm.
your
And to you, Chris.
faith observes. Yes, thank you.
Okay, it's been
All
moved
right.
and seconded. It's not debatable. All those in favor?
Bye.
Aye. Okay.
Bye.
See, talk to you soon.
Everyone to be well.
Take care.